the internet. And the popularity of online sales is likely to spread to other countries. Online sales now represent as much as 1/10 of all retail sales in the United States. Experts say online shopping hit records in both November and December. 57% of Americans have bought something electronically. This has led traditional stores to seek new ways to keep their customers loyal. Store owners worry continuing growth in online sales will hurt their business. Cornell University marketing professor Ed McLaughlin says they should be worried because any products that can be sold online will be. Ed McLaughlin says traditional stores can keep their customers by selling goods like clothing, which buyers may want to see and try on before purchasing. He says the stores could also offer things that are difficult to ship. He says some stores can please customers by offering to set up or repair electronic products. Bill Martin is the founder of ShopperTrack. His business helps stores learn about their customers. He told us that traditional stores offer a social experience that some people enjoy. He says there is still a lot of emotion in the buying decision, and it is hard to get that emotional feeling from shopping online. So there is still a place for brick and mortar stores. Bill Martin says traditional stores can provide goods to buyers faster than online businesses, and some retailers use their websites to persuade people to visit their stores. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
This is the VOA Special English Health Report. The World Health Organization says the number of cases of tuberculosis has been falling since 2006. Also, fewer people are dying from TB. But a study by researchers at the University of California, San Francisco, says smoking could threaten this progress. Nearly 20% of all people use tobacco. The smoke also sickens millions of non-smokers. The new study predicts that smoking will produce an additional 34 million TB deaths by 2050. Efforts to control the spread of tuberculosis have mainly focused on finding and treating infections. Much less effort has been made to understand the causes. Dr. Anthony Fauci is director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He says more than 1 million people each year die from TB, and millions more get infected. It's still a very important problem. So we have to do the practical thing, and we have to do the fundamental research things at the same time. Smoking does not cause tuberculosis. Bacteria cause the infection. But the study says smoking affects the nervous system in a way that makes an inactive case of TB more likely to develop into an active one. Study co-author Stanton Glantz is director of the University of California's Center for Tobacco Control Research and Education. He says tobacco use could increase the number of people expected to die from tuberculosis between now and 2050 by about 26%. The study is described as the first to identify a direct link between tobacco use and rates of TB infection and death. Professor Glantz says the results should guide those creating health policies and TB control efforts. If you want to control the infectious disease of tuberculosis, you have to control the tobacco industry and the tobacco industry's efforts to increase tobacco use, particularly in developing countries where tuberculosis is a big problem. The study predicts that the situation will only get worse if tobacco companies continue to sell more of their products in those countries. It says strong efforts to control tobacco would not only reduce deaths from smoking-related diseases like emphysema, heart disease, and lung cancer. Those efforts would also prevent millions of deaths from tuberculosis. The study appeared in BMJ, the British Medical Journal. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. Business is the most popular subject for international students in the United States. At last count, 22% of foreign students at American colleges and universities were studying business and management. The Institute of International Education in New York says engineering was the second most popular field. Thomas Kosey is a professor of marketing and business at the University of Richmond in Virginia. He says international students who want to study business need to have good English skills. At the same time, native English speakers who work with foreign companies may need to learn some new communication skills themselves. This is because the world has more non-native speakers of English than native speakers. At the University of Richmond, teams of graduate students work with companies seeking to enter the American market. The students learn about writing market entry studies. The reports are written in English, but Professor Kosey tells his students to consider who will read them. He said his students have to write the report so that it can be understood by someone who is an English speaker but not a native English speaker. For example, he tells his students to avoid jargon and other specialized terms that people might not know in their own language. This can be good advice even when writing for other native speakers. But effective communication involves more than just words. Kay Westerfield is director of the International Business Communication Program at the University of Oregon. She says you must have the language skills as well as cultural intelligence. Cultural intelligence means the need to consider local behaviors in everything from simple handshakes to speaking to large groups. Still, Kay Westerfield says the ability of foreign workers to speak English is becoming more important to companies looking to off-source operations to other countries. Also, she says English skills often provide a competitive edge for business students when they seek jobs. She said, as one business student in West Africa put it, English is a lifeline. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. We offer live English lessons Monday through Friday at the VOA Learning English page on Facebook. You can also read and listen to our programs and find activities for English learners at voaspecialenglish.com. And we have podcasts on iTunes.
This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. Energy has become an important issue in the American presidential campaign. And gasoline prices, costs that affect almost all Americans, have risen sharply in recent months. For example, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney has criticized President Obama's energy policy. In a newspaper commentary, he said the president has let prices rise while placing too many requirements on the energy industry. One issue in the political debate is a project proposed by the Canadian company TransCanada. Its Keystone XL pipeline would stretch more than 3,000 kilometers from Alberta, Canada, to several oil processing centers in the United States. If completed, the project would cost about $13 billion and transport over 1 million barrels of oil a day. The Republican Party has criticized President Obama for delaying work on the oil pipeline. Republican Doc Hastings serves in the United States Congress. He says the party wants to use all of the nation's energy resources. Mr. Hastings says that would include use of both the Keystone XL pipeline and oil exploration in coastal waters. He says Republicans in the House of Representatives have passed reforms that break down government barriers to America's natural resources. And he says the House has passed legislation that would open coastal areas to new oil exploration and production. In early March, President Obama visited a Daimler truck factory in North Carolina. He told workers that more oil exploration is not an easy answer to the nation's energy problems. He said the United States has 2% of the world's oil reserves, but uses 20% of the world's oil. He said this means that even with increased oil production, there is no easy answer to high gasoline prices. Workers at the North Carolina factory build alternative fuel vehicles. Mr. Obama told them that new sources of energy mean more jobs. The president has called for tax breaks on clean energy vehicles and urged local governments to buy them. He also has asked lawmakers to end $4 billion in support for the oil and gas industries. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. You can download texts and MP3s of our programs and learn English at voaspecialenglish.com. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Did you make a New Year's resolution? Some of you shared your goals at the VOA Learning English page on Facebook. And no surprise, Many of you said at least one of your goals for 2012 is to speak English better. Daniel Kwan even went so far as to declare, "I'm definitely going to try to study English at least an hour a day." Jose Antonio Velarde says, "My first resolution is to speak English as fluently as my Spanish." And Tuti Riel says, "My New Year's resolution is to be able to speak English and Mandarin fluently and be a better person." Juwita Zulmi says she wants to improve her English and get a scholarship to study overseas. Another goal for 2012, a new boyfriend. Durley Johanna Barreto has these two resolutions: to speak English fluently and to get a job. Hsian Kim also has two goals: to lose weight and improve speaking English. And Katie Cecalina has these resolutions: don't eat meat, I'll take it easy, then to learn Spanish or Italian and find my real love. The last ones will be the most difficult, she thinks. Rafa Mintz's main goal is finishing high school and getting into a university. Lola Wesquito Octobrata says, "I am going to get married and finish my undergraduate study with good results." And Uma Sharif is ready for the next step this year, a master's degree. Handri Permana has this resolution: be more meaningful before my time's up on earth. And Handri has this advice for others: have fun seriously in life. DNL Pajirian has fun playing the video game Defense of the Agents, or DOTA. DNL says, "My New Year's resolution is I want to spend more time on my studying than playing Dota." Refki Aditya's resolution is to not be lazy about studying anymore. And Noor Chinifa says, "I want to be the best in my national examinations, to be a braver girl, and to take a scholarship abroad." Shara Radinka offered this comment: "My resolutions are to pass vocational school, get a scholarship, and visit Singapore and Malaysia." And Sita Adyuda is thinking of Australia in 2012. "I wish I could have a career abroad in my dreamland of Oz. And let's see, as I'm an optimist, I'm going to make it real this year. Ha ha ha." For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. Go to voaspecialenglish.com to read, listen, and learn English with our programs and activities. You can also find live lessons at the VOA Learning English page on Facebook.
This is the VOA Special English Health Report. Heart disease is the world's leading cause of death, yet most cases can be prevented. Doctors say reducing deaths from heart disease will require not only changes in the way people live, it will also require changes in public policy and better public knowledge about differences in heart disease between men and women. Two conditions, coronary artery disease and microvascular disease, can both reduce blood flow to the heart. Experts at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston say heart disease in women is more likely to be caused by microvascular disease. Finding this condition may require tests other than an angiogram. An angiogram is a kind of X-ray test. Doctors use it to look for a buildup of fatty plaque material that can block arteries. Arteries carry oxygen-rich blood away from the heart to the rest of the body. The World Health Organization says heart disease kills 18 million women a year. And these are not just older women. Carrie Vincent had a heart attack after giving birth to her first child at the age of 31. Ms. Vincent is now taking her message to women at meetings in their homes through an organization called Sister to Sister. Irene Pollan started Sister to Sister to educate women about heart disease. Ms. Pollan urges women to learn about their blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and other risk factors for heart disease. Ms. Pollan teamed up with a heart specialist at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Dr. Joanne Foody works mostly on prevention efforts. She says, "The good news is we know that 90% of heart disease is preventable by reducing risk. That means not smoking, and it means controlling or avoiding diabetes. It also means keeping a healthy weight and eating healthy foods. And it means exercising at least 30 minutes on most days and managing or reducing stress." Dr. Dariush Mozaffarian at the Harvard School of Public Health also has other advice. He says people should eat more fish, whole grains, vegetables, vegetable oils, and nuts, and reduce the amount of salt and trans fats in their diets. Trans fats can increase the risk of heart disease. Heart disease increasingly affects women in developing countries. Dr. Mozaffarian places a lot of blame on the global epidemic of obesity. He says people are getting chronic diseases not from eating too much,